can't seem to get my light to do anything that doesn't make me look like I have a black eye, but that's all right. This is like my eyes like all black. Whatever. I don't have a black eye. I promise. All right, so I kind of feel bad. Kind of feel bad because it looks like everyone here has already heard this.
We'll be happy to hear it again.
I did some changes, and I actually performed this at another open mic, and I didn't get any feedback, like not even a clap. So either I edited it to a point where it's no good anymore, like I overdid it, or so anyway, see how you feel when I read this time. If it feels different in a bad way, just tell me. I can take constructive criticism. I can. I need it. I need feedback. Thank you. All right, so hi. This is called Emily. Back then there were children, an entire garden full of children, and a single tree loaded with apples, one apple for every child, every single one. And I was their guide, their Sherlock Holmes of sorts, helping them find the clues to the seen things, the blues, the reds, the oranges and greens, and the unseen things, the sweets, the sours, the umamis, and oh, those sounds, crackles and creaks, the gurgles and trickles, and later even, the counted and uncounted things, the cleverly built and the stubbornly unbuildable things, the letters, the numbers, and the mystery of reading each other's minds. Sherlock. Sheer luck, having the children around me, that is, until dear Watson, my hapless assistant, entered this busy world of bumbling, buzzing bees, and that is when, dear friends, it all came tumbling down. I remember all of the children, the 3-year-olds, ripe with curiousness and clumsiness of wandering without wondering, distracted by every stray sound, stain, and odd but familiar smell soaking into the cracks of their brains, sponges soaking, soaking, soaking in every sense-filled drop. Little 3-year-olds not a bit curious about the tree. The 4-year-olds, oh to be 4, reckless in their wandering, trampling every sorry sapling on their way to the tree, forgetting why they had wondered about it from afar, because up close it was so much bigger, almost threatening. And now those round red things poking out of the leaves looked so high up, so unreachable. They turned away. And then there was Emily. No longer 3, no longer 4, but finally, triumphantly 5. Dearest Emily. After almost 4 years of wandering around the tree, so ready to see an apple up close, she waited patiently below it, willing it to fall into her hand so that she could finally taste it and enter into its softly enticing mystery. Yes, back then there were children and a tree loaded with apples. 1 apple for every child, every single one. The day Watson became my assistant, I told her I would be her mentor. My higher ups and lower downs had passed this down to me through oral tradition and more years of experience than I could count. Surely I'd been in training since I'd tasted my own apple. And now the higher ups and lower downs had left us alone here to figure things out. So I pulled Watson aside and I said, Watson, as your mentor, I must show you how to guide the children without teaching them, how to offer them a new lesson as they're ready, physically, mentally, spiritually. You can, of course, give lessons, but only with my explicit permission. I will give you practice teaching, but I've been through the entire training. And I know that I must teach you first how to choose carefully when the child is ready. I've learned that if I give the lesson too soon, the child will be so frustrated she will grow angry and learn to hate her new task. She will throw it down and trample it in disgust, never to try again. If I give the child the lesson too late, it becomes meaningless, trivial, hardly worth his attention, and he will go on without giving a whit about possibly missing out on the tastiest morsel of mystery he may ever get the chance to know. One rule, Watson, do not give a lesson without my permission. And Watson closed her eyes and bowed her head in consent. But Watson was impetuous and not trustworthy. She could not follow my one command. The days passed, and I would find Watson giving lessons to 3-year-olds who had not the dexterity nor the willpower to follow through, and they would grow red with anger and frustration and throw the pieces down, damaging them. They were not ready. She would offer a 5-year-old the same lesson he had mastered on his own months before, making him doubt himself. For why should the teacher show him something he already knew how to do unless he'd been doing it wrong? And dear Watson crushed the child's spirit, and he wanted nothing to do with the task ever again, for fear he would surely always do it wrong. And then the fateful day came with Emily. Emily was right at the edge of the most beautiful mystery of all. I had the lesson planned for her for that very morning, and my eagerness to bring her to the apple on the tree was only tempered by my knowing that it had to be timed at the exact moment of the apple's prime and perfumed ripeness, at the perfect moment for Emily to grasp its mystery. I turned for just a split second, distracted momentarily by the newest child in the garden, the youngest. He was still so fearful of the hustle and bustle of the other children bumbling and bustling around so adeptly in this curious environment. And then I saw it. Watson giving Emily the lesson, handing her an apple, not even the one designed especially for her, like it were some random act, just another task. And Watson saw me see her, and she gave me a look, a smug look of self-satisfaction. My heart skipped its beat. I couldn't breathe. Emily stood eating the wrong apple, the apple not even ripe enough for the child it had been intended for. My dearest, lovely Emily, utterly dumbfounded, disappointed, defeated. This is what she'd been waiting for, willing with all her might to fall, ripened into her outstretched hand all of these years? And here it was, plucked up by Watson and shoved at her. Eat it, was all Watson had said. And so she had eaten, fearful, yet curious, confused, yet trusting. Never had I warned her not to trust. And she ate because she was told to, told it was time. Oh, could I have turned back time? Oh, to turn back time and fix it. Had I only beaten Watson to the game, had I not been distracted, had I invited Emily to come with me to the tree that morning, remembering to bring with me those thin slices of birch bark and a sharpened stick of graphite, to lay out a blanket and sit with her, and then lay out all the pretty objects she knew the names of, a flower, a leaf, a stone, a branch, a moon sliver, a star mote, a water drop, and to say in the quietest of voices like a whisper, Emily, I'm going to think of one of these beautiful objects laying out on the blanket before you, but instead of telling you what I'm thinking of, I'm going to do something different so that you know which one I'm thinking of. And then I would write down, slowly and carefully, a name. L-E-A-F. And I would place the thin slice of birch bark with the 4 letters in front of her, and she would sound it out and say it out loud with a startled, open look of awe on her face. Leaf. And I would hold in my sheer joy, seeing her know she has entered into a secret way of communication, a mysterious form of transmission of thought that could remain an eternal secret between her and I, if she did so choose. And I would say, yes, leaf. That's exactly the object I was thinking of. You, dearest Emily, have read my mind. And she would place the slice of birch bark with the writing upon it next to the leaf, and tears would stream down her face, and the apple would drop into her hand of its own. And she would cherish it, her first taste of wisdom, uniquely designed for her. And one by one, the children would reach their time. And I would invite each one to the tree, and each apple would fall ripe into each eager hand, and each child would taste of the wisdom at his and her time. And it would be good. It would always, always be good.
I love that piece. It's so good.